We are going to be grafting these stitches together for a nice and seamless finish. When you follow the pattern to the very last round of the toe, you'll only have a small number of stitches left. I have 10 stitches left on each needle, which makes for 20 stitches in total. I'm grabbing a length of yarn. This is about 30 to 40 centimeters. I am choosing a rather blunt needle, or at least not the sharpest one that I have, because that makes it easier to graft, because we want to get the whole stitch instead of easily, puncture through it. So what we do is we move these stitches to our needle tips. Our needle tips are facing to the right, and what's very important is that the yarn is coming from the needle that is furthest away from us. We are going through 2 stitches on the front needle and then 2 stitches on the back needle. And for the front needle, I'm going through the first stitch as if to knit, and I can take that one off the needle, so I'll take that off at the same time. Then I don't pull through yet, but I go to the second needle where I need to go through as if to purl. So I go through from right to left. This one needs to stay on the needle, so that's when I leave it and pull the yarn through. Now the back needle, and feel free to slide this needle out a little bit again so that the stitches don't drop off. For the back needle, the first stitch I need to go through it purlwise from right to left, and I can take it off the needle. Then the next stitch, this one stays on the needle, but I can go through it knitwise. So you see, it's almost the opposite of what happened on the first needle. So I'm going through it knitwise, which means from left to right. It stays on the needle, and I pull through. I'm not pulling this completely tight yet. Then on the front, I go through, this is now all the same, so I go through knitwise, and I can take it off the needle. Then the next one purlwise, and it stays on. Then here purlwise, I could take it off, and knitwise, and it stays on. So the thing I say to myself when I'm doing this is knit off, purl on, purl off, knit on. Okay, we now only have 4 stitches left, and so 2 stitches on each side, and what you do then is that each stitch is an off. So knit off, purl off, purl off, knit off. Right. We have grafted all stitches together now, but you can see that it is still very untidy. I put my left hand, or my non-dominant hand, in my sock so I can spread it out, and then I take either the other end of my darning needle, or I take my knitting needle, and then I start at the very right of the grafting stitch, or at least where the end isn't. So and then I take the very first loose strand, then I take the very loose strand right, left to it, That was a bit, just the first one to the left. And you see when you pull one stitch tight, the one left to it, I mean, when you pull on this one, this is very loose, but then the one left to it is very tight, and that's the one you want to be pulling on next. And you don't want to pull it super tight, but ideally there won't be much of a difference between this stitch and another stitch. Okay, when I get to the end, when I pull on the stitch, it will also pull on the end. So make sure that this end is not pulled all the way through with them, because then you're unraveling. And then we can sew this end so that it is all finished. And you see, maybe the yarn is a bit too light for that, but this very last stitch, it kind of moves depending on where you hold the yarn. So if you hold it down like this, then there will be this little bump here. So we want to sew the yarn upwards so that this stitch is nicely tucked in. So I'm putting the yarn through my needle. I'm laying the yarn how I want to sew it. And then I should have changed to my sharper needle now, and then I insert into the fabric and take it through to the inside where I can weave this in. So turning my sock inside out, I'm switching to my sharper needle just to make it easier for myself, because I like to split the stitches where I sew my ends. So I tend to go through the back of the stitches, and my favorite way is to just take up a little bit of that stitch so that the yarn doesn't show through on the other side. And it's also more secure like this because it is within a stitch, within a couple plies of a stitch. So I feel like those hug the yarn more securely. I go in a couple different directions, and then you're okay to snip the yarn.